Between Rocket Ranch and our new partner, Chef Kevin Hickey, we wanted to do something really special at Bottlefork. One of which was to play with the food that we were using and infuse it into the beverage program and take a lot of what we were doing behind the bar and infuse it in the food.
I've had a beer obsession since I was far too young to drink beer. There's so much to beer that it's always really struck a chord with me. I mean, it's become very popular now. It's become hip and cool, which I don't have a problem with whatsoever. I think that's great.
As much as we can do working with and in Chicago, it's really crucial to the success of not only us, but of our whole community in the sense of cocktails, beers, food, liquor, wine, all of it. I mean, it's so important and crucial that we do that.
It doesn't get more local than this. I mean, literally 5 minutes from my house, 10 minutes from Bottlefork.
And Matt Ritchie, the brewmaster here at Begyle, we've been working together for a couple of years. Matt will call me and start talking about beer styles and malts and so on and so forth a few weeks before we decide to brew, and which, the style of the beer is driven very much by the seasonality that we're in.
We partnered up with Chef Hickey early on. Actually, we met him before we even had our license to brew. He brought a whole different aspect to the game, kind of the chef's touch, the spicing, the different unique items that you can do. He moved on to a new opportunity with Bottlefork and Rocket Ranch Productions. So we were really excited for him to branch out and kind of do something new.
Every time I've come here working with Chef Hickey and the Begyle crew, we've been literally taking boxes of vegetables and roots and grains and chopping them up, juicing them, like today, juicing rhubarb, and creating a brand new beer from scratch.
In the brewing process, we're converting starches to sugars in the mash tun. We're going to do that by setting the pH and the temperature to activate specific enzymes in the malt. If we want to create a sweeter beer, we're going to go with a higher temperature mash. We're going to create a drier beer, create more simple sugars, go with a lower temperature mash. Once we've converted all those starches to sugars, we're going to go ahead and transfer it over to the boil kettle. So the boil kettle's here in the middle. We're going to add hops. The hops we add at the beginning of the boil are going to create bitterness. That bitterness, depending on style, will be a balance between the sugar content we created in the mash tun and the style of the beer. So you think an IPA is a very bitter beer. We have a lot of bittering hops in there. You think like stout, it's a very sweet beer. We have very little bittering hops. We'll get to the end of the boil, we'll add flavor hops. So something like a stout won't have a lot of flavor hops, but something like an IPA will. We're going to transfer it out of the boil kettle through the heat exchanger across the room into the fermenter. Once it's in the fermenter, we're going to pitch the yeast. The yeast are going to ferment from anywhere from 4 days to 2 weeks. They're going to convert those sugars to alcohol and carbon dioxide.
My favorite story of all time, though, is from when we first came out to Begyle Brewery and made our first beer about 6 months ago. And it was a root style beer. We were cutting up all our root vegetables and throwing it in. And once we had all the spent items, the grains and the veggies that we sort of took out afterwards, I thought it was so cool that they had a farmer come out and fed the farmer's pigs all our spent veggies and grains. And then we got to take that pig and literally put it in the smoker at Bottlefork and utilize it as part of our offerings while also offering this sort of paired beer that we made from the same vegetables that the pig ate.
America is really kind of going backwards in a lot of ways, because if you look at the statistics and the old numbers, the number of small local breweries pre-Prohibition was huge. Prohibition really ruined things in a lot of ways. And one of the things it did was it industrialized the beer industry to the point that you had the mammoth monster breweries, and so why bother with these little breweries owned by these small families? And so now what we're just seeing is just a swing back to where we were at turn of the century, going into the teens and the 20s, which is fantastic. It's what it should be, and we've got a lot of amazing brewers making some wonderful, wonderful concoctions. And Chicago is just exploding.
Cheers, guys.
Beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy, as Benjamin Franklin said. Why beer, why not beer? Beer is, what the hell's wrong with you?